Hey, second graders, it's Miss Barnett. I can't wait to keep learning about poetry. I hope what you are learning from our lessons is that poetry is all around you. You might hear poems when you're listening to music, or when you're reading a book, or even in the TV shows that you might be watching. And you are probably using figurative language in your everyday conversations. You might not have even known it. So, we're going to review what a simile is. A simile is figurative language that uses like or as to describe something. So, in this cartoon, Garfield says, "Hold on. Whoa. I thought I was going to sneeze, but then I didn't. Life is like a mad, crazy roller coaster ride." That comparison is between life and a roller coaster ride. He uses like, and because he uses like, it makes it a simile. What that sentence means is, life can be pretty crazy sometimes, and sometimes it's unpredictable. A simile is a comparison of two things using the words like or as. You are as sweet as pie. That is a simile comparing you to pie, but the combination of the word that is linking the two is sweet. Your shoes are colorful like crayons. It's comparing your shoes to crayons, but the link is colorful. Another simile is Mohammed is as fast as the Flash. That is comparing Mohammed to the Flash. And because it's saying Mohammed is as fast as the Flash, it must mean that Mohammed is very fast. Here's another. Ayana is as strong as Supergirl. This is comparing Ayana to Supergirl, and the link is strong. Ayana is as strong as Supergirl must mean that Ayana is pretty strong. Aryan is as focused as Batman. Because it's using as to link the two, it is a simile. Aryan is as focused as Batman, it must mean that Aryan is pretty focused. Now, you might say, "Miss Barnett, what happens if I compare things, but I don't use like or as?" Great question. That's a metaphor. A metaphor is figurative language that says one thing is something else. Happiness is a warm puppy. Here we have Charlie Brown and Snoopy hugging, and we're saying happiness is a warm puppy. It's comparing happiness to a warm puppy, but it's not using like or as. Because it's just saying one thing is something else, that makes it a metaphor. If I said happiness is like a warm puppy, it would not be a metaphor, it would be a simile because it has like. If I said happiness is as nice as a warm puppy, that would also be a simile because it's using as to compare. The linking word, I want you to pay close attention because that could be the differentiation between a simile and a metaphor. Metaphor, a comparison in which one thing is said to be another. Here's an example. She is a walking dictionary. Obviously, the girl is not really a walking dictionary, but it must mean that the girl knows a lot of vocabulary words. She must be very smart. Here are some other metaphors that you might use. The cat is a monster. Because I'm comparing a cat to a monster, but I'm not using like or as, that is a metaphor. The cat is a monster. The kid is a sweetheart. I'm comparing kid to sweetheart, but I'm not using like or as. That makes it a metaphor. The boy is a clown. I'm comparing a boy to a clown, and that must mean that he's very funny. That is a metaphor. These are comparisons in which one thing is said to be another. Now, the last piece of figurative language that I'm going to go over today is called an alliteration. And alliterations are probably my favorite kind of figurative language because they're very silly to say. And some people even call them tongue twisters. So an alliteration is a big word to show you that figurative language that repeats the same sound, the same beginning sound. Jump like jolly jumping beans. I have J, J, J. If I'm repeating the same sound, then I am having an alliteration. An alliteration is when two or more words in a row or close together begin with the same letter. And I might mess up saying these, and that's purposeful because alliterations are very difficult to say. So alliteration Annie is an alliteration because it's A and an A. Alex Alligator ate apples. That's 4 A's back to back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to back to back to back. Alex Alligator ate apples. Now you try saying it. Alex Alligator ate apples. Let's try the next one. Carson carries car in his cart. Carson carries car in his cart. Now your turn. Let's try the next one. I eat eggs, egg rolls, and Eggos. I eat eggs, egg rolls, and Eggos. Now your turn. Let's try the next one. My friend fries French fries. My friend fries French fries. Your turn. Some of my favorite alliterations are Sally sells seashells by the seashore. I love that one because it's super hard to say if you say it really fast. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. You try to see if you can say it faster than me. Another one that my music teacher used to teach the class when I was little was Mama made me mash my M&Ms. Mama made me mash my M&Ms. Mama made me mash my M&Ms. And I always found that very difficult to say. There are a whole bunch. Another one is, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Because I'm repeating the same sounds over and over and over again, that makes it an alliteration. And alliterations are very difficult to say. So I'm going to read a poem to you, and this time I want you to see what kind of figurative language is in the poem. This poem is called Everything on It, and it's also written by Shel Silverstein, who wrote the poem Sick. I asked for a hot dog with everything on it, and that was my big mistake. 'Cause it came with a parrot, a bee and a bonnet, a wristwatch, a wrench, and a rake. It came with a goldfish, a flag and a fiddle, a frog and a front porch swing, and a mouse in a mask. That's the last time I asked for a hot dog with everything. Even I got stumped there. Saying these kinds of alliterations back to back is very difficult and very hard. So you might have noticed that there's a lot of figurative language in here. I asked for a hot dog with everything on it, and that was my big mistake. 'Cause it came with a parrot, a bee in a bonnet, a wristwatch, a wrench, and a rake. It came with a goldfish, a flag, and a fiddle, a frog, and a front porch swing, and a mouse in a mask. That's the last time I asked for a hot dog with everything. So let's start to pick out some of the alliterations. A bee in a bonnet, BB. Bee in a bonnet. A wristwatch, a wrench, and a rake. Even though they have different letters to start, we know that it's about the letter sound and not the letter that it starts with. So wristwatch, wrench, and rake all have an R sound. Wristwatch, a wrench, and a rake. A wristwatch, a wrench, and a rake. A wristwatch, a wrench, and a rake. If you say that a bunch of times, it's very difficult, and that is another alliteration. R. It came with a goldfish, a flag and a fiddle, a frog, and a front porch swing. So here we have a bunch of F sounds back to back. A flag and a fiddle, a frog, and a front porch swing. And here's another one. A mouse in a mask. That's another alliteration. A mouse in a mask. That's the last time I asked for a hot dog with everything. So there aren't any similes or metaphors here, but this is packed with alliterations. And I really like this poem because, not just because it has alliterations in it, but because it's very funny. It's about a hot dog with everything on it. Now, when a person asks for a hot dog with everything on it, they probably think of it having mustard and onions, maybe even ketchup, ingredients like that, relish. But I don't think they mean a hot dog with everything that you can think of on it. I wouldn't want a parrot or a bee in a bonnet, a wristwatch, a wrench, and a rake, or a goldfish, a flag, a fiddle, a frog, a front porch swing, a mouse, and a mask. I would not want that on my hot dog. So the author, or the poet, however you want to say it, is trying to teach you a lesson to be careful with what words you use, because words have meaning. And that's really a good lesson about poetry in general, is that words really do have meaning. So here is everything on it. Let's see if we can read another one. The voice. There is a voice inside of you that whispers all day long. I feel that this is right for me. I know that this is wrong. No teacher, preacher, parent, friend, or wise man can decide what's right for you. Just listen to the voice that speaks inside. Now, I like this, which is also written by Shel Silverstein, because it shows you that some poems are funny and some poems are serious. This is a more serious poem. And you could probably find another alliteration in it. There is a voice inside of you that whispers all day long. I feel that this is right for me. I know that this is wrong. No teacher, preacher, parent, friend, or wise man can decide what's right for you. Just listen to the voice that speaks inside. So the alliteration here is preacher, parent. That p sound back to back makes it an alliteration. And I like this because it has an alliteration, but it also is teaching you that inside of our brains, we hear those voices that tell us what's right and what's wrong, and we need to listen to that voice that tells us the right thing to do and follow it. And even if teachers or preachers or parents or friends or wise men tell you to do something, you ultimately have to make the right decision for yourself. And you have to be strong enough to listen to the voice that tells you to do the right thing. So I really enjoy that poem. Now, your homework for today is that I want you to practice saying a few alliterations. So, alliterations are super, super fun. You can try to write some of your own. Maybe take your name and see if you can write an alliteration. So my first name is Lindsay. So I could say, Lindsay loves lemon lollipops. And that's a great alliteration. We have l. Lindsay loves lemon lollipops. You should try to see if you can make one with your name. And then try to say it a bunch of times really, really quickly to see if you get your tongue twisted, which is another alliteration. So I hope you have fun practicing alliterations and tongue twisters at home. And next time that you're reading through poems or reading a book, see if you find similes, metaphors, or alliterations. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed.